Everybody, here I am again making a video. Here's the thing. So, should you use a domain name for your documentation site or your personal notes and stuff? And I think the answer is no. And so I'm going to give up the answer. I believe the answer is no because if you have a domain, first of all, you have to pay for it, which is not that big a deal. It's like, you can get it for free. But the main reason to not have a domain name for your notes and maybe even your blog or your documentation is that you want it to live on after you die, or more specifically, your domain dies. And let me show you what I mean by that. So it's counterintuitive that you would create content that is married to a particular platform, such as this. So like I have made a skillstack.io, and I've used this is hosted on Netlify, and it it's actually on GitHub, and you can host it also on GitHub. We're going to talk about that in the beginner boost this year, but you can use something called a CNAME on GitHub, and you can have it hosted on GitHub and not have it even be on Netlify. And there are some reasons you may or may not want it on Netlify that we'll get into later. But the point is, what happens when skillstack.io, which I registered for like 10 years, but what happens if that domain goes away? So most of us are not the kind of people that, most of us are not the kind of people that are going to be making content for forever, and we are going to die, and our content is going to die with us if it doesn't get picked up by the web archive and things like that. So we don't want that. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So like if I go out to let's go out to github.com/rtvxrob. This is I know really silly, right? But this is going to stay around, right? And that's really the takeaway. You're going to die, yeah. So this is the takeaway. The content that you put onto GitHub, and this is another reason I think GitHub is the place to put it. GitHub ain't going anywhere. I mean, it ain't. If GitHub were to go away, the universe of tech as we know it would collapse. I mean, it really would. So, and I mean, maybe that'll happen, but I doubt it. Right. So, this is the place that you need to put everything, and this is the thing that people are going to find when they need to find your code or your knowledge-based content, right? And you can we customize all this. We're not going to go into this now. We go into how to make this customized landing page in the beginner boost. But to make the point, so like when I click on my Zettelkasten notes here, warning, there may be some swear words here because these are my personal notes. This isn't a blog. These are very messy. I change my mind all the time. So here's my Zettelkasten project. And you'll see here I'm actually linking to the GitHub URL instead of, how many domains do I have, right? Including Rob's rtvx.gg, which I'm moving away from. Because why? Because, and I'm going to redo this whole thing. But the point is that this never goes away. This URL with github.io never goes anywhere. And that's really the point of this video. That is the only thing I have to say here. Not only does it not go away, but this particular project, if you want your knowledge saved forever for some reason, you can be. And this particular project, I think I have where is it? I don't know, it's not showing right now. I don't know if this one is saved or not, but I think is this part of, it's not showing the Arctic project. This one's not showing the Arctic project, but I'm trying to find one that does have that. So what I'll just spit it out. So there's a bunch of code. Here we go. I think this is it. Yeah, the Arctic Vault, right? Arctic Vault contributor. So any of the specific projects that get picked up that are here get put in the Arctic code archives. That this is something that only GitHub does, that your code and stuff I mean, I don't know if you're, anticipating an apocalyptic event in, in your future, but if there was one, my code and my knowledge base, for better or worse, would survive because it would be stored in the Arctic vault and it'd be among the stuff that'd be pulled up. So, beyond the value of having, uh, your domain survive you, supporting putting it on GitHub, it means that you're gonna this your code and your stuff is gonna have a better chance of being around no matter what. And that's with or without any effort from the fantastic projects like the Wayback Machine and all of that. So this is the first place you should put it. You can still have the only reason you would not want to do that is if you had a really high volume, or obviously if you have videos and stuff like that. People would start to complain about how fast it takes to get to your stuff and stuff. But 90% of us watching this video, we're never going to hit that level of volume. And if we did hit that level of volume, you could have a mirror of your site. You could have one that is here and another one there. And you just make sure they get indexed properly. But you don't need to have them be separate. So that the answer is you don't need a domain. You really don't. You can host on GitHub, and you might think that makes you look like. I mean, it might be fun for you to put a vanity URL on a domain in front of there if you're going to put it on your resume or you're going to do something like that. But the technical professionals are going to evaluate your CV and stuff like that. In my opinion, they're not going to care if you have a GitHub IO. In fact, there are several major projects. I can't think of any right now, but I know of at least a few projects that have used github.io as their domain for this very reason. Because if somebody buys the domain, I mean, from the security perspective, well, they'd have to hijack github.io as a domain to try to take it over, which, is much harder to do and stuff. So that's it. That's all I had to say about that. So yeah, you're totally going to be okay just using the GitHub domain. All right, let's get back at it.